Coming this fall from SJS Direct in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. You can pre-order your copy of The Man Crisis today on Amazon.com. You've often heard me say in numerous videos regarding these mass shooters that these beta males participate in a spectrum of violent behaviors. And I believe that Avon Stevens is alleged to have participated in one of these behaviors that I believe fits within the spectrum of violence that beta males participate in. Now, it's alleged that your Avon Stevens decided to go to the Kings Plaza parking garage in Brooklyn and set fire to the Kings Plaza parking garage because he was kicked out of this garage for loitering. Now, your Avon Stevens says he set fire to this garage because he saw people having sex in the cars in this garage. But when I take a critical look at what the garage was used for, I see that his statements just don't make any logical sense, because the people who were using the parking garage and auto dealership said they were using the parking garage to store brand new Mercedes-Benz automobiles. And over 120 of these brand new Mercedes-Benzes were destroyed in the fire that your Avon Stevens set, or is alleged to have set, in that parking garage a couple of days ago in Brooklyn. And when I take a further critical examination of your Avon Stevens, he clearly fits the pattern and profile of a beta male. Because when I saw him on the video, with a big nappy head, sagging pants, he fits the pattern and profile of a beta male. And your Avon Stevens has had a criminal record, and it looks like he was just drifting from place to place. Something that a lot of beta males do, because when it comes down to your beta male, when they become an adult, they just don't have male life skills, they don't have male survival skills, and because they don't know how to navigate a course in the world, many of your beta males usually wind up drifting from place to place, looking for some place to stay. And this guy probably was looking for a place to sleep, which was this parking garage where he had no business being. And when security found your Avon Stevens inside of this parking garage around these brand new Mercedes-Benzes, they kicked him out as part of what they should have done as part of securing that property. But because your Avon Stevens is a beta male, he felt entitled to be in that parking garage, and he decided to get back at those people for kicking him out of the parking garage by setting fire to the parking garage and destroying over 120 brand new Mercedes-Benz cars. And again, many people will not think about this as one of the behaviors that is in the spectrum of violence, but in the spectrum of violence, the beta male can participate in violence varying from very mild threats like yelling and screaming if a girl rejects him, all the way up to participating in these mass shootings. So there is a spectrum of violent behaviors that these beta males participate in. And this destruction of property fits right within the pattern and profile I talk about in The Man Crisis, because when I look at your Avon Stevens, he fits right within the profile of this beta male I talk about in The Man Crisis and the behaviors they participate in, because only a beta male is going to believe that they can set fire to a garage and then say that the reason why they're doing it is because people are having sex in cars in that garage. Now, most people who go to a garage, they don't care what somebody else is doing in their car, as long as not in their car. Excuse me. I mean, they don't care what somebody's doing in their own car, just as long as they're not doing it in the car that they own.
People will do whatever they want in these garages, and as long as people can come in, get their cars, and then go on their way, they could care less. And the people in that dealership, they didn't really care about what was going on in the garage as long as no one was damaging their brand new cars or doing anything to ruin their brand new cars. And all they were trying to do was protect and secure their property. But this beta male, because he wanted to have the world the way he wanted to be, he wanted to be able to loiter in this garage. He decided, since he couldn't loiter in the garage, he was going to destroy the garage. No different than your Elliot Roger, who decided because he couldn't have sex with the girl he wanted to destroy the world around him. And the way your David Katz wanted to murder people because he lost the video game in the Madden tournament. When it comes down to these beta males, they believe they are entitled to have the world the way they want to have it. They believe they are entitled to do whatever they please. And they believe that they don't have to be responsible if in any situation or be made to take the consequences for their actions. Now, your Avon Stevens, upon being arrested by the police, went out of his way to apologize for his act of violence, but I don't believe that he was being genuine. I believe he's trying to minimize his sentence to avoid getting a long sentence for prison, because when I look at his actions again, he's clearly in his faculties. He is not mentally ill, because this is another thing that people misunderstand about these beta males. They try to say that these guys are mentally ill. They are not mentally ill. They are of sound mind. The problem is that in most cases with these beta males, they are throwing an adult temper tantrum, and what they want to do is be able to use mental illness as an excuse to escape winding up getting the punishment they deserve for their crimes. Because when it comes down to the beta male wants to be able to get coddled by the criminal justice system, so they try to use mental illness as a smokescreen. But these guys clearly aren't mentally ill, because when you look at their actions, they show malice of forethought, they show intent, and they show a willful act to be malicious in their behavior. These are all the behaviors of a sound mind, and they are all meant to try to get back at the person they believe has hurt them, slighted them, and offended them. And what they want to do is make it look like they're crazy, but they're not crazy at all. They're just a spoiled, rotten beta male. And when it comes down to the beta male, that's the reason why they act so violently, is because they're used to getting their way with their single mother and the women in their community. And when they have to go out into the world of men and be able to survive and take responsibility, that's when many of these men wind up falling completely apart, like your Avon Stevens, and they're not able to navigate a course for the world. They're not able to set a course for themselves in life, and this is why they wind up falling through the cracks like your Avon Stevens, and they wind up malfunctioning and falling apart. And when it comes down to these beta male short circuits, they can lead to an explosion, and sometimes those explosions again lead to these men participating in the spectrum of violent behavior. Some people, all they think about with the beta male is mass shootings, but the mass shooting is just on the far end of the extreme of their violence. When it comes down to their violence, again, it can vary from a yelling and screaming fit to slapping a supervisor to stalk behaviors online like stalking a man by making sock puppet accounts, dummy accounts, sending him penis pictures, or going out here and assaulting someone, or going out here and murdering a girlfriend, murdering a wife, or murdering a family, all the way up to the mass shooting. It depends on the beta male, it depends on their anger, and that's what makes these beta males dangerous. That's why I call these ticking time bombs landmines, because all it takes is for one person to step the wrong way, and these guys wind up exploding in ways that wind up destroying the lives of all of those around them. I thank God that no one was killed thanks to Avon Stevens setting fire to that garage, and only 120 cars were destroyed. But when it comes down to these beta males, we all have to be concerned because, again, these guys are like landmines littered all across the country. We have 2 to 3 generations of these males running around due to the dysfunctional way they've been raised, and all it takes is for one person to step the wrong way, and the lives of not only that person who was attacked by this beta male is changed forever, but the impact is felt for miles around people in a community when these beta males participate in their violence. Because a guy like Avon Stevens setting fire to that garage, it left an impact on that Brooklyn mall, and it left an impact on the borough of Brooklyn overall. And that's why these beta males are extremely dangerous, because their behavior when these guys go off can literally damage and destroy the community around them. And that's what's really scary about these beta males, is that we don't know when they'll go off, what they do when they go off, or how devastating the damage will be when these guys go off. When I look at this Avon Stevens, his alleged behavior is fitting right within the pattern and profile I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And in The Man Crisis, I go in depth talking about the dysfunctional behavior of this beta male, how this beta male came to be, and the solution for trying to deal with this beta male constructively. This beta male is a danger to all those around him, and we need to start taking this beta male seriously, because these incidents are not isolated incidents. They clearly fit within a pattern and a profile, and once you start to see the pattern and profile of this beta male critically and constructively, you start to see that each of these guys come from one thing, and that is being raised in a dysfunctional home, either by a single mother, a divorced mother, or in a gynocentric environment. And that is the core reason why many of these beta males wind up putting everybody's life in crisis, because these men just don't know how to be men, and they don't know how to navigate the world, and that's why they're destroying the world in their spectrum of violent behaviors. If you want to learn more about the dysfunctional behaviors of beta males, you can pick up my new ebook, in The Man Crisis, by pre-ordering it today by clicking the link in the description box on Amazon.com, or you can wait for the paperback coming later this October. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.